St. Paul writes to a community in Corinth whom he brought to Jesus. The community is rejecting Paul for his lack of skill in speaking. They are also rejecting his teaching about Christ and who he truly is, Christ crucified. Instead, the community believed more in other preachers who they wanted to hear. He sarcastically calls them super apostles. The people rejected a legitimate apostle who had been given authority over them by God to teach them, to shepherd them, and guide them to salvation. Now, instead, they're believing something other than the truth. They're being disobedient. Paul is inviting them to a sincere and pure commitment to Christ. He's calling them to be obedient as Christ was obedient to his Father. I think the best way to figure out what it means to be obedient is to turn to Christ himself. Christ was baptized in the River Jordan, and his Father said of him and to him, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." His Father's voice is one that he knows is true, one that wants the best for him. Then, right after that, he is tempted by the devil in the wilderness to doubt his Father's love and his Father's authority. The devil says, "If you're the Son of God, command that these stones become loaves of bread. If you're the Son of God, throw yourself down from this temple, for your Father should send angels to protect you. All these kingdoms I will give you if you worship me." Jesus rejects this voice and the lies that strike at his relationship with his Father, and decides instead to be obedient to his Father in heaven. He has a meek and humble and obedient heart, which is our model. For today, we still do have these super apostles around, and voices that can lead us away from communion with Christ and his church in obedience to the lawful authorities given to us by God. There are politicians and political commentators who oppose the church's teaching and gain followers by sowing seeds of anger and division. There are voices of Christians outside of the Catholic Church who draw people away from full communion with Christ and his church by attacking the church's teachings and questioning their legitimacy. There are even voices from within the church that attack our hierarchy without charity or truth, and sow seeds of division among the people of God. These false voices can lead us away from the voice of the Father, who speaks through his church and the leaders he has given to us. Today, just like Jesus, we too can reject false voices and take on his obedient, meek, and humble heart. This can mean letting go of media that draws us into unrighteous anger or divisive thinking. It can mean defending our Holy Father or bishop or our pastor when their legitimate authority is being rebelled against. It can mean seeking out the true teachings of the church rather than looking elsewhere for information about the church. By doing this, we can draw more people into communion with Christ and his church by our word and our example. This communion and unity that we establish here and now will lead people to communion with God forever in heaven.